the stop-start cycle. I want to help you break that stop-start cycle. Welcome to the Super Abundant Life podcast, where we teach the Bible in a simple, authentic, and practical way so that Christians can skillfully apply the Word of God to create supernatural results in every area of life. This is your host, Olawumi Brigwe. You know, where you start something, whether it is to build something into your life, prayer life, or your word life, or exercise, or you say, I want to spend time with my kids, or I want to work towards this promotion at work, so I'm going to spend time every evening completing this course, etc., etc. And then you give it a bit of time, build a bit of momentum, and then something called life happens and knocks you off your feet. Boosh. And before you know it, another 4, 5, 6 weeks, 3 months, 5 years have gone past. Then when you see something that reminds you of it, you're like, I really want this thing. I really want to achieve this thing. Then you pick it up again. Because so much time has gone by, it's almost as if you're picking up yourself from scratch, and then you get knocked off your feet again, abandon it, and so on. And that is what I want to talk about today, because the truth really, really is breaking that stop-start cycle is essential for success. It's like someone going on a journey, and they're going on, let's say, 100-mile journey, and they start at mile 0. They're heading towards mile 1. They're like, I'm really excited. I'm going to have this wonderful time when I get to mile 100. I'm getting together with some people that we're going to have a party. And, around the 5-mile mark, something happens. Either they get distracted, or they get tired, or they face some kind of obstacle, and then they stop. They go back, maybe all the way back to mile 1. Before they know it, time has passed, and they're like, I'm supposed to be going to mile 100, and then they pick up again, and they keep going. So essentially, if you're ever going to achieve the things you say you want to achieve, you're going to have to learn how to break that cycle. I mean, the obvious reason why we need to learn to break the cycle is so that you can achieve whatever goal you set out to achieve. But what I want to do, and if you're a regular listener on this podcast, you know that I always take it much deeper than the surface. What I really want to do is to show you why it is not even good for you. There's so many consequences. There's so many ways that it's taken away from you rather than adding to you, to keep stopping and starting, stopping and starting, stopping and starting. It's worse than, you just will not achieve that goal. Because sometimes, even if you don't achieve the goal, is it the end of the world? No, really, it's not the end of the world. Okay? But what is it really doing to you? How is it shaping your perspectives of life? How is it seeping into your identity and then affecting other areas of your life? Do you see what I mean? So it's way deeper than that. That's what I want to talk about today. I want to dive into reasons why the stop-start cycle occurs, and I want to offer practical strategies that I have used and I'm currently using on my fitness journey to break this cycle and to develop new ways of thinking that will help you cultivate greater consistency and perseverance. So are you ready? Let us get started. I'm going to use examples from my own fitness journey throughout this episode, because if there's something that I have struggled with in terms of stop-start, it is with fitness, not health now. Two different things, okay? Because let me say this. This is an opportunity for me to say this. If you are a Christian, please make sure that your health, the health of your body, is rooted in what Christ did for you. The Bible says in Isaiah 53:5, and I believe in 1 Peter 2:24, by his stripes you were healed. Meaning that the healing of your body, the health of your body, is part of your atonement. Everything else, the fitness, the exercise, the healthy eating, it is jarao. Because let me tell you this, you can do all that other stuff, the physical stuff, and it is still not a guarantee that sickness will not come, that disease will not come, that accidents could not happen, that plagues, we've just been through a plague recently, yes, will not come. So if you are rooted that, listen, no matter what comes, I am rooted in this truth and I will destroy whatever comes against me with the truth of the word of God. And in the name of Jesus, you are sorted. So health-wise, consistent is part of my daily declarations. I declare that the source of the health of my body is the life of Christ in me. Actually, maybe I need to do an episode on this so that I can really expand on that. So that's just as an aside. However, the fitness part of it, the benefits of exercise and eating right and all those other things, the quality of life part of it, I stop. I'll start to, I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. Or I get distracted. I'm like, let me just leave this thing or whatever, for whatever reason. And I would abandon it. But consistently now, I've been on this journey for about a year and a half, consistently. And that is probably the longest I have gone in many years. Even without the quote and unquote results of I'm not thin. Don't be raz. I'm not thin. That's the correct pronunciation. All right. I'm not looking to be thin, right? But the quote and unquote final destination of a particular number on the scale, even though I'm not there yet, I'm having a wonderful time. I'm enjoying just being fit, and I'm quite fit. I'm fitter than so many people that might say that they are thin. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm enjoying being fit. I'm enjoying the benefits of eating right, sleeping well, drinking loads of water, and so on and so forth. So that's what I want to help you do in this episode. I want to share with you 7 tripwires, and I'll come to that. Things that will trip you up when you are going for anything, and if you don't know how to handle those tripwires, they will cause you to abandon it, and then you get caught in that stop-start cycle. Okay, so let me first of all define what do I mean by the stop-start cycle. It's basically a pattern of behavior. So all of these things, they are brain-based. They're the result of habits that have been developed over time. So the stop-start cycle is a pattern of behavior where you repeatedly start and stop your pursuit of a particular goal or habit. It's as simple as that. You start today, you stop tomorrow. Start today, stop tomorrow. The journey is characterized by a lot of inconsistency, a lack of follow-through, not being able to maintain any kind of momentum that you gain or build. Okay, so in this episode, I'm going to cover it in 2 parts. First of all, I'm going to talk about what the consequences are. It's not just the fact that you won't achieve that goal or you won't get to that destination. It's deeper than that. And part 2, I'm going to then discuss the common reasons for that inconsistency, those 7 tripwires, and the 7 strategies. So I'm not just going to tell you what the tripwire is. I'm going to give you a definite, tried and tested strategy to help you overcome it or be aware of it enough to be able to sidestep it. So let's get started. So what are the consequences of stopping and starting all the time? Okay. Number 1 is it is stressful and emotionally draining. It is, because you're like, I'm going to go for it. And then you stop and then you feel bad. So it's draining for you emotionally to always be going up and down. Okay. Number 2 is it actually creates shame, because you tell people, oh, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to go for that promotion at work. I'm going to lose that weight. And people see you starting to make the effort. In fact, they may have even begun to congratulate you on the progress they're starting to see, and you're feeling good about yourself. But then a few weeks go by and you've abandoned the thing and the weight starts creeping back up. Or in 3 years' time, you see somebody and say, you're still in this job. Do you understand? So there's this perceived sense of shame that it creates. And if you're a regular listener to this podcast, there are certain things that you don't want in your life in terms of carrying around and being conscious of in your identity. It's guilt, it's shame, it's condemnation. The third reason or the third consequence of not breaking out of that cycle is it feeds into an inferiority complex. Like other people are better than you. So you see other people around you succeeding in something similar. Someone decides, okay, I'm going to go and achieve this thing, and they actually do it. Meanwhile, you have been doing stop start for 10 years. What it starts to suggest to you is that there's something wrong with you, that other people are just better. It begins to create this inferiority complex inside you. And all it is you just need to be able to manage those choke points where you are being tempted to stop. And if you manage it, you will be exactly the same as the people that are getting the results. There is nothing wrong with you. The people that are following through to the end are not better than you. God didn't spend 30 minutes longer creating them than he did you. Everyone is created in the image of God, which is awesome. Okay, so that is the third one, inferiority complex. The fourth consequence of the stop-start cycle is the obvious one. It wastes time, energy, and resources. I can't tell you, those years where I was stopping, starting of my fitness journey, how much money I wasted. I said, this one looks good, or you gotta spend money, hundreds of pounds. Sometimes you find £1,000, you buy this one, say this exercise machine, wow, it is exactly what I need. Order it, thousands. So there's one, in fact, as I'm talking, you see my house, I dumped it in my husband's study. He has been complaining since that I should come and carry my thing. I said, there's nowhere else to put it. Like, probably £2,000. I don't remember. Something along those lines, if not more, on this exercise thing. I'm like, definitely this is what I need. Use it for a little bit, abandon the thing. The thing is just there. You know how you now becomes coat hanger? You now start using it to hang coats. Waste of time, waste of energy, waste of resources. That is what the stop-start cycle creates. The next one, so number 5, is it creates this false sense of security. Let me explain what I mean by that. So if you keep going for something and you keep stopping, you start, then you stop, then you start, then you stop. Who needs this thing anyway? Why do I need to achieve this thing anyway? And it's a form of self-preservation, because you want to preserve yourself from that pain, from the pain of knowing that the thing you truly want, you haven't yet achieved it, and it is now looking impossible to you, because every time you try to go for it, you've ended up stopping. So to preserve yourself, to protect yourself, those emotions start to come up, like, who needs it anyway? Who needs to lose weight anyway? It's fine. And let me tell you something. This is where I parked for many years. I'm like, you know what? My life is rooted in the provision that Jesus Christ has made for me. And that for me is 100%. That is where the foundation of my health is built. Right? And I say, hey, it's okay. What about the people that are exercising and always eating, as my husband calls it, leaves? I was telling you, it's all leaves, it's salad, okay? That are eating quote unquote leaves, and they still further die, that kind of thing. They just, one day they're here, the next day they're gone. I'm like, so what's it? So that's what I told myself. Who needs to? But I realized that actually, even God teaches us these things in the Bible. There's certain things that he teaches us to do with the way we handle our body, with the kinds of foods that we eat, with the way we move our body. The Bible is a book of wisdom, so it's all in there. So you can sort of park the car and say, let's just stay here, Joe. Who needs to go all the way to Canaan, the same way Abraham's father did? He stopped halfway, like, let's just park here. So you can create this false sense of security, like, it's okay where I am. I don't need to go any further. And of course, you can tell that if we do that, particularly for the important areas of our lives, we're going to severely underachieve, not fulfill our potential. Yeah. And the final consequence that I've been able to come up with is that it can lead to cynicism and bitterness. So earlier in one of the consequences I talked about, I said that it could create inferiority complex where you're looking at yourself relative to other people and you think other people that are crushing it, that are achieving that thing, are better than you, almost like they're superhuman and you basically don't have what it takes. This one is the reverse, where you look at people that have been able to achieve the thing that you've been stopping and starting, and you think there's something wrong with them right? With them. So you say things like, oh, the only reason why she got that promotion is because she slept with so and so. Or, oh, it's the Millionaire Boys Club. They would never let a woman in there, kind of thing. So essentially, you start to pick apart somebody's success or progress, and you're cynical about it because you haven't been able to achieve it, because you've struggled with it. You think other people's successes, there must be something wrong with their success. There must be something they've done. They must have cut corners. They must have really, really done something bad to get it, and you become bitter and envious. Okay, so these are all consequences of not breaking that stop-start cycle, whatever it is in your life. In fact, from what I've just explained, all those, I think there's 6 of them that I've talked about, it's better for you not to do anything regarding something than to be stopping and starting, because that very process can create all these things that I'm talking about. So if the goal is not really something you want deep down, and it's just like, it would be nice to have it, and then you start and stop, it's doing more damage to you to be stopping and starting. It's not even the fact that you don't achieve the goal, which probably is number 7, the consequence. It's not that you don't achieve it, that's small, because you don't really want it. But the fact that you keep saying, oh, I'm going to do something, and you stop and start, is doing more damage. So it's better to not even attempt it in the first place than to keep attempting and stopping. And I'm not talking about things that are important that you have to go for it anyway. I'm talking about things that you just feel like nice to have. Okay, right, so let me go on to those 7 tripwires. So 7 reasons why the stop start happens, and I'm also with each one going to share a strategy to help you beat it, and I'm going to interweave all of that with my own fitness journey. The first tripwire, the first thing that will cause you to abandon something, is misjudging time. In other words, you're setting your own timeline and becoming discouraged if it appears to be slow. So you say, I'm giving myself 3 months to achieve this thing, and you have this lofty idea of what you'd be able to do in that amount of time. I've heard somebody say that we overestimate what we can do in 1 year, but we underestimate what we can do in 10 years. So this idea of, I'm going to get everything done now, and give yourself this timeline that is a lot of times unrealistic. Now, what that does is, because it was never realistic to start with, by the time that you set is approaching, a lot of times you don't even get there. I say, okay, I've said that by 6 months I would have lost all this weight. Therefore, by month 1, I should have lost 1/6 of whatever it is I thought I was going to lose, isn't it? Let's say 1/6 is, let's say 10 pounds. Say by the end of first month, I should have lost 10 pounds, isn't it? Right? But then end up with 3, it's only 2 pounds. You like, 2 pounds out of 10. How am I going to achieve my goal of shifting 60 pounds in 6 months? And because it's not flowing in terms of how quickly you want the thing to happen, you start to get discouraged. After a while, you abandon it. So misjudging time. I once heard somebody say, if you're willing to stand forever, you will not have to stand for too long. Anyone that has a made-up mind, and I'm going into the strategy now, you have to approach whatever it is with the idea that this thing is going to take forever, because in actual fact, it will. So assume it will take forever because it will. Success is not a destination. So if I say, for example, I want to lose a certain amount of weight, when I get to that destination, when I say, oh, check, I've lost all the weight that I set out to lose, will I stop? No, I don't stop. I keep doing everything that I've been doing, but this time to maintain the success. So I'm going to have to stand forever. I'm going to have to stick with it forever. It's a forever thing. Someone says, I want to get married. And they say, oh, but by this year, by December 31st, that's when I know I must get married. If December 31st passes and I'm like, oh, it didn't happen, I'm going to abandon everything I've been doing to prepare myself for marriage. Tell me, when you get married, are you not going to continue doing those things to keep developing yourself to make sure that the marriage is a good one? Do you see what I mean? So have a forever mentality. In fact, I once heard somebody say to me, and since I'm using fitness as an example, this was several years ago, and she told me she had been going to the gym and was very consistent with it. And she mentioned, I said, oh, she's on track that when she gets to, I think it was size 10 or a certain number, I don't remember exactly, several years ago, that's it, she's done. And even me then, way back, even me, I knew that there was something wrong with this philosophy. I had enough sense to know that I give you 6 months, you're going to pile all that weight back. Because you can't say, oh, I'm going to be diligent, I'm going to do this, and then once I achieve it, I'm done. Meaning I'm going to stop going to the gym, eating however I want to eat because I've achieved my goal. Of course, it didn't even take 6 months. I was even being very generous. All of the weight came back. That is how life is. You have to have I'm going to do this for the rest of my life mentality. So the first one is misjudging time. Setting, first of all, an unrealistic timeline. And even if the timeline you have set is realistic, you still need to have a forever mentality. So that is a strategy. Whatever growth you went through to achieve that goal, you will need to maintain it to retain the success. Otherwise, the success is going to end up being a flash in the pan. And that also leads to stop and start. So the person loses the weight. Then they go back to eating the way they used to eat. They go back to doing all sorts of things. And then the weight piles back on and say, but I thought I had lost this weight. No, you have to be willing to stand forever. Have this is how I am for the rest of my life mentality. Not I'm going to give everything it takes for a short amount of time, achieve the goal, and then go back to how I used to be. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Okay? So be willing to stand forever. If possible, and it is possible in most cases, don't even set a deadline. Don't say, by this thing must happen. Set a deadline for the things you can control, which are the habits that you will form, as opposed to for the outcome. Don't say, I must lose this amount of weight in 6 months' time. What if it doesn't happen? Are you going to abandon everything? The outcome will always follow the habits, and I'm going to come to that in the second one. So be careful how you engage with time when it comes to deadlines for outcomes. Set deadlines for the things you can control. You want a promotion? Don't say, definitely by 3 months' time, I must have this promotion. What if it doesn't happen in 3 months' time? What if it happens in 3 months and then 6 weeks? Do you see what I mean? What if it takes another 6 weeks? Is the promotion not a good one because it happens 6 weeks later than when you thought it would happen? So use time to help you with the things you can control. What do I mean by that? You can say, in 3 months' time, I'm going to make sure that I've upskilled to this particular level. You can control that. When the actual promotion will happen, the manifestation, you can't control that. So don't go and set a time that would then end up being a hook in your throat that causes you to give up. The second tripwire is using the wrong measure of progress. Using the wrong measure of progress. And what is that? Results versus habits. I alluded to that when I was just talking about the first one at the end of the first one. Results versus the actual habits. Focus on the things that you can control. Measure your progress by the things you can control, not necessarily by the outcome. So going back to my own fitness journey, do I have a certain number in mind that I want to weigh? Absolutely. And I'm going to get there. But here's what we're saying. The number is not as important as the habits, because the habits are what will create the number that I want. Do you see what I mean? It's like the spirit realm is what gives birth to the physical realm. So if I focus too much on the number that I want to see on the scale and I'm not focusing on building the habits, what would happen is I would get to a point where if I'm not seeing that number, I will not be diligent in building the habits. It's as simple as that. Focus, here's the strategy, focus on the habits rather than results. The habits are what will sustain you even after you reach the goal at the end of the journey. For example, let's say you want to get married. Now, married is a place, isn't it? It's a day. I want to get married. I want to have my wedding day. That is a destination. But that destination is the beginning of another journey, which is staying married, being in a good, fulfilling, in fact, an excellent marriage. Now, if I focus too much on wedding day, the day that I'll be married, I want to get married, and I forget that that is one day out of thousands and tens of thousands of days. I don't know how many how many days somebody say. I can't calculate in my head at the moment, but that's one day compared to the journey of being married. Somebody who could be married for 30, 40, 50, 60 years. One day compared to, let's say, 50 to 60 years is nothing. So if I focus too much on, I just want these things to happen, and you're not actually focusing on the habits that will not only get you to the wedding day, but will help you in the 50 to 60 years, that is a tripwire, and it will cause the person to abandon the journey. So in other words, you think about the kinds of habits that will not only get you to that wedding day, but more importantly, that will keep you married. One example is a consistent prayer life. The person says, oh, but I said I wanted to be married by last year and it didn't happen and I'm going to abandon the journey. Hold on a minute. The habits, like a consistent prayer life that will eventually help you get to that wedding day, is it not going to still be beneficial and required after the wedding day? So if you focus too much on the final quote unquote destination and you forget that I'm actually building the engine that will sustain that outcome that I want, guess what's going to happen? You're going to abandon it. You're going to give up. You're going to stop. So for me, like I said, yes, I have a number in mind. I'm declaring that number. I'm working towards it. I'm doing the right things to get me to that number, and more importantly, to keep me at that number. But I'm not allowing my actions, my decisions, my choices to simply be guided by that number. So if I step on the scale today and the number is not showing, I'm like, it's not working, it's not working, it's not working. It makes no difference to me. What I'm thinking is habits, the habits that are going to get me to that number and keep me at that number. How diligent am I being with those habits? So my focus is actually on the habits as opposed to the outcome. Okay, so moving on to the third tripwire, and it is this: only wanting to celebrate the final result as opposed to mini wins or growths along the way. So for example, someone reached out to me recently. She had been working towards a goal, something important, significant, and important area of her life. And I'd been working with her. And on this particular day, she reached out to me and said, everything is just upside down. I don't understand it. I thought things were getting better. And look, it just looks to be going backwards and so on. And in the same message she sent to me, said, yes, I've noticed though that because I've been consistent in my fellowship with the Holy Spirit, because my prayer life is better, I'm finding out that my relationship with my kids is better. This is happening. And she named like 3 different things that are happening. And she was just like, I don't understand. I just want to give up. And my reply to her, the message I sent to her was very simple. I said, I could identify about 3 to 4 wonderful things that have come out of this process that you've been going through. Why would you be willing to simply throw those away because the the big thing you want has not happened yet? And I asked a very important question, which I'm going to ask you. Which is better? for you to be on this journey, for you to be putting the work in, for you to be diligent with the habits and the things that you're creating, and to be getting all these mini wins along the way. And it's taking a bit longer for you to achieve the big thing you want to achieve versus you abandoning the project and you don't have the big thing you want, neither do you have all those wonderful, wonderful mini wins along the way. Which is better? Of course, the first one is better. Bringing it back to my own fitness journey. Like I said, I'm not at the particular weight that I want to be yet, but I cannot begin to tell you the benefits that have come out of exercising regularly, of being choosy about the kinds of foods that I eat and the portions and so on, of going out for a walk and just literally I would go for a long walk, and by the time I come back, I've received like 5 different revelations. The Holy Spirit has told me stuff. I'm like, wow, I never saw it that way before. I have time to think. I come back feeling happier. Do you see? All these things are wins. They're wonderful things. My fitness level has shot up the roof. Like before, when I started this thing like 2 years ago, something like that, I couldn't even walk to the end of my street. As in, I'll be panting. But now, literally walking uphill, going to the gym, doing 45-minute cardio, and I'm keeping up and I'm loving it and I'm enjoying it. These are all wins. If you don't learn to appreciate the benefits that are coming out of the journey itself, as opposed to say, oh, it's only when this final thing happens. Guess what's going to happen? Anytime it looks like it's not going to happen, and you will have many times like that, where it will look like it's going in the opposite direction and the final thing you want will never happen. Guess what's going to happen? You're going to give up. You're going to abandon it. You're going to stop. You're going to stop. But me, regardless of what the number on the scale says, I'm looking forward to the other benefits of being able to sleep well at night because I'm drinking more water, because I'm not eating very late at night. All those wonderful things. I'm like, I'm not abandoning this journey. I would rather take all these ones than not have anything and say, hey, I'm discouraged, I'm going to give up. And the wonderful thing about it is, if you just stay with it, you will be enjoying those wonderful mini wins along the way. And that's what will lead you to the big win. So God says to the children of Israel, I'm going to take you into the promised land, isn't it? And they said, okay, come and see, And he was giving them mini wins along the way. Manna, water from a rock, even meat. There was like, well, one meat. Okay, you want meat? Okay, fine, take it. He was giving them little things along the way for them to enjoy the journey. But they're like, no, this final one, if it's not happening, we're going back. Don't be like that, all right? Because it will cause you to keep stopping and starting. The fourth one is wanting to do too much too quickly. So that's the fourth tripwire. Now, excessive energy and activity is actually evidence that you are being fueled by emotions. And emotions change. What do I mean by that? For me, starting on my fitness journey, I could say, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the gym 7 days a week, and I'm going to work out 2 hours each time, and I'm only going to eat salads, even though I hate salads. Yes. Like, maybe I shouldn't say I hate salads, because I could grow to actually love salads, because I'm on a journey, aren't I? But at the time, I definitely hated salads. So, I'm only going to eat, and I can't stand salads, and I can't even walk to the end of my street, and all those kind of things. But it's the emotion, it's the excitement of, yes, I want to do this thing. You now go and bite more than you can chew, and the thing out chokes you, and before the week is up, you've abandoned it. This is the strategy. This is what you should do. Approach it with a cool head, logic, plan, do research, do a spreadsheet, and literally write it down, put numbers down. Plan from the place of a cool, logical mind as opposed to heightened emotion. Heightened emotion will prompt you to go and take on more than you can at that point in time. There's coming a time where you'll be able to do all the wonderful things like go to the gym and you work out for 2 hours. But when you are starting, you probably can only walk down the road 2 minutes and turn back. In total, 5 minutes. That's all you can do. And that's wonderful because you've started something. So doing too much too quickly is evidence that it is emotions that are driving you, and emotions will change. You will wake up in 2 days time, and the same emotion and say, let's go and do something, does not want to do anything, and then you follow those emotions again, and guess what? You will abandon it. Okay, so that's the fourth one. Number 5 is compare. This one, comparing other people's harvest season to your own planting season. This one is so important because social media has been a wonderful blessing, but it also can be an obstacle. So if I literally open up social media, I will see somebody that is exercising and they're doing all these things and and I'm like, wow. And I think about myself and I say, see your life. Can you see your life? See yourself. You can't even do that one for 2 seconds. See this person that's doing it for 30 minutes straight. See your life. And it makes you feel bad about yourself. Somebody comes and gives a testimony and they say, do you know what? This is what happened in 6 weeks. In 6 weeks, I was able to go from this salary, and my salary was quadrupled, and I was promoted from being a supervisor to a COO in only 6 weeks. Now, is it that they're lying and it didn't happen in 6 weeks? Not necessarily. But what you don't understand is the harvest happened over 6 weeks. The planting could have been happening for 5 years. The planting, the watering, removing the weeds, that part of it was 5 years. But the 6 weeks is they submitted the CV and then they called them for interview. 6 weeks. They are saying it's 6 weeks. So that is their harvest season. There's a difference between the harvest season and the planting season. So if you see someone that is in the harvest season and you are only in your planting season, you are showing up, you take the course and then you take another course or you do whatever and the promotion is still not coming. I say it's not working. No, you are in your planting season. The time is coming where there'll be a cumulative effect of everything you have done, and whoosh, it will be like your own two happened overnight. So that one is a real trap. It's a real trap. The strategy is to embrace the season you are in. When you are in your planting season, embrace it. Understand that me going to the gym, me eating the right foods, I may not yet look like somebody that has all those habits and is enjoying those habits, but I guarantee you that my own harvest season, where someone that hasn't seen me in a year will say, whoa. Do you understand what I'm saying? The harvest, which is me being a particular size and maintaining it, there is coming. The harvest is coming. The promotion is coming. The marriage you desire is coming. Those are all harvests. So if you're looking at other people that are enjoying their own harvest season and your season now requires you to put your head down and make sure you're planting, please don't allow envy, jealousy, and all those kinds of things cause you to abandon your planting season. When Elijah went to give the word and said it's going to rain, there were 2 key people in that story. There was King Ahab and there was Elijah. Elijah said to Ahab, go and eat and drink, for I hear the sound of the abundance of rain. Meaning, Ahab, your own harvest season, you wanted rain, your rain is about to come. But Elijah dare not go and eat and drink. It was time for Elijah to enter into his own quote unquote planting season. He had to birth the harvest. 2 people that would literally enjoy the harvest together. One person, it was their harvest season. Another person, it was their planting season. You can't mix the 2 together. You say, but why do I have to spend another 30 minutes just to be working on this thing? I don't see anybody else in the office that's doing that. They're in the harvest season. You better go and be doing your own planting season. You say, but why is it that she didn't even apply for the job? They just headhunted her and she got it. Meanwhile, I'm just doing all this work. I'm doing all these soft skills. I'm working on myself. Where is the reward? It's coming. It's coming. If you can't compare yourself with somebody that has planted and is now enjoying the harvest season, well, guess what's going to happen? You will not complete your planting season and, no harvest. That's what that means. Okay, so please don't compare yourself with other people. Face your own season. And of course, if you're in your harvest season, flenjo, enjoy it, allow yourself. Okay? Allow yourself to enjoy it. The next one, number 6, is expecting the journey to be a straight line. Expecting to be a straight line. Like I show up today and then there's progress, and then tomorrow there's progress, and then there's even more progress, and so on. Just like you think will be going up and up and up and up consistently. No, there's nothing in life that happens like that. Even children have growth spurts. So they've been growing, and then psh. Do you understand? That's how life works. That's how life works. There'll be periods where you'll be like, is this child growing? You see? So that is how life works. It is not a straight line. Success is not a straight journey. You will have days, literally, if there's a way for you to track your success, maybe there's a number that you are using to measure something. I mean, weight is a good example because it involves numbers. You weigh in today and you're like, wow, I've lost a certain amount, and then you weigh tomorrow, water weight, all sorts of things. The thing it's as if you never even lost anything. Do you understand? It will go up, down, up, down, up, down. The most important thing is there some kind of an upward trend? So look more for trends as opposed to daily straight line increase. I used to teach maths, right? And there's something in maths, in high school maths, called scatter graphs or scatter diagrams. A scatter diagram is a statistical diagram where you plot all the different points on a graph, and what you're looking for, all the points are scattered all over the place. But what you're looking for is there an upward negative trend or positive trend? So you're looking for trends, and if you can identify the trend, then you can draw a line that represents the average of all the points. That is what life looks like, a scatter graph. As you're plotting the points from day to day, it will not always be up, 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 up. Like the person that reached out to me, she had quote and unquote entry points in that journey where things were looking good and she was seeing results, and then all of a sudden it looks like things had scattered again. That's how life is. That's it. You are making progress. It's moving forward. So it may look like up today, down tomorrow, up today, down tomorrow. But what you realize is even your down tomorrow, you don't come back to the same emotional state as you were when you started the journey. So you should be using your emotional state to gauge it. So for example, because I've been on this journey, if I step on the scale and it looks like I've gained weight and the thing is not moving and it's supposed to be moving, the emotional state I would have at that point is nothing compared to how it would have been at the beginning. At the beginning, I would like, is this still even working? What's all the points? Do I even want to continue with this thing? But now I understand that, do you know what? In 2 days' time, it will go back to where it's supposed to be because the body fluctuates. It retains water, different things happen, menstrual cycles, it fluctuates. In fact, your body weight fluctuates between 2 to 6 pounds within the space of 1 day, especially as a woman. Depending on things like environment as well, humidity and so on, 2 to 6 pounds. So if I want to go and jump in the river because it looks like I gained 6 pounds, and then I step on the scale tomorrow and it looks like I lost 8 pounds. So when you understand that it's up and down, up and down, up and down, that's how the journey is going to look. Then you're more likely to not be disappointed if it looks like it's going bad. If it looks like the progress is not working again. That's what I mean by the journey is not going to be a straight line. It's going to have many ups and downs. So the strategy is to embrace the mindset that is going to look like a scatter graph. Up today, down tomorrow, and also for long stretches, you will be like you're just stuck on one level and nothing's happening. It's going to look like that. That is how life works. And of course, the final tripwire is wanting to do it alone, or not engaging a credible and consistent support system. Doing it alone is overrated. All this, I don't want people to know my business. You don't need people to know your business. You only need one person you can trust to know your business. So go and find that person. Listen, going on the journey with somebody else will get you through the tough times. In my own journey, for example, I've hitched my wagon to different support systems. One of such support systems is the gym. I enjoy going to the gym, but I don't just go to the gym and do my own stuff. Yes, I do my own stuff, maybe for the first 10 to 15 minutes, but then I go and do what? Classes. I book classes that I love, that I enjoy, and I show up. When I'm doing the exercises, if it's just me in my living room, I am not sure I will push myself as much if other people were not there and I'm seeing that they're doing it, so me too, I'm going to do it. So these things are important. People are important for your progress. You can't do it alone. You're not even supposed to do it alone. Okay, so those are the 7 tripwires, and I want to run through a quick summary. So I promised a step-by-step guide, a quick summary of how to break out of that stop-start cycle and enter into consistency in your journey. The first one is the tripwire is misjudging time, setting your own timeline and then becoming discouraged if it appears slow. The strategy is assume it would take forever because it will. Success is not a destination. Whatever growth you went through to achieve that goal, you will need to maintain it to retain the success. The second tripwire is using the wrong measure of progress, such as results as opposed to habits. The strategy is to focus on the habits rather than results, because it's the habits that will make it sustainable. Otherwise, even if by some stroke of luck you achieve that goal, it will soon fade away because it's not built on habits and systems. The third tripwire is fixating on only one specific goal at the end rather than many ones along the way. The strategy is enjoy and celebrate the many benefits, the many wins along the way as part of the journey. If you don't enjoy those many wins along the way, you will not have enough fuel to sustain you to get to the big one at the end. The fourth tripwire is doing too much too quickly. And the strategy is approach any project with a cool head. Don't go and hear something and then your emotions get jacked up and you want to do based on those jacked up emotions. No. Plan it out logically, create a system, say I'm going to start this and then you increase it a bit and increase it a bit until you can get to whatever that destination is. Then when you get there, you now have a system that will sustain you. The fifth tripwire is comparing other people's harvest season to your own planting season. They're two different things, so please don't do that. Here's the strategy, embrace the season you are in, whether planting or harvest. So if it's a planting season, keep telling yourself, well, this is my planting season. I'm going to get to the point where I'm just the kind of person that maintains this size effortlessly. I don't even think about it anymore, right? I'm getting there. Someone else is already there and I'm thinking, oh, I wish I would. No, I don't want to wish. I'm going to do what I need to do, and in my own time, I will get there. The sixth tripwire is expecting the journey to be a straight line. No, it's not going to be a straight line. It's going to be a scatter graph with many ups and downs and probably long stretches where it looks like nothing is happening. The strategy is to embrace this mindset that life is up and down, up and down, up and down. And as long as there's some kind of an upward trend, even if it's an average upward trend. Like over the last 6 months, there have been times where my husband and I have really had wonderful times compared to this time last year where we did not even speak to each other or laugh with each other. That's progress. Do you see what I mean? So take blocks of time and review progress over large blocks of time as opposed to day to day. And of course, the final tripwire is wanting to do it alone, not engaging a credible and consistent support system. The strategy there is simple: get another human being involved. That's it from me today. This is Allow Me Brigwe, and I will be back next week. See you then.